Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys, I hope that all of you are doing good. This video is going to be about a great little cheapie that comes from the brand of Sapil and it's called Bound for Men. This fragrance is a clone of Armani's Code Profumo and it's actually a fantastically done clone of the original fragrance. Before I talk about the packaging, bottle design and stuff like that, I just wanted to share a little story about this fragrance. My personal story with the Bound for Men from Sapil. Now, I had my eyes on this fragrance just when I started collecting fragrances and when I started being interested in clone fragrances, and I was hesitating to pull the trigger on this fragrance because there were no English reviews out on this one, and I wasn't sure whether I should buy it or not. But by the time that I decided that I'll give it a try, it was sold out in my country, and it was sold out for quite a while, probably like a year and a half or something like that. Other fragrance YouTubers, they started doing reviews of this fragrance, and all of them were praising this one, and I was feeling quite miserable because of the fact that I didn't pull the trigger when I had the chance. But fast forward about a year and a half later, and I finally was able to get my hands on a bottle of Sapil Bound, and I really like this fragrance, but I'll talk about the scent a little bit later. Okay, enough with the chit chat. Now let's quickly go over the packaging of Sapil Bound for Men. The fragrance comes packaged in this box. It's pretty plainly packaged. On the front you get the name of the fragrance, the name of the company, the bottle size 100 milliliters, the concentration, which interestingly enough is EDT in this case, which is a rare case when it comes to Middle Eastern fragrances, and somewhere on the bottom there was a production date, in fact on the site, and the production date of my bottle is March of 2023. And once you open up the bottle, this is the box, this is how the bottle looks. Again, has a pretty interesting design. It feels very cheap. The cap is very light, feels very cheap and plasticky, but it's a snug fit, and the whole packaging and bottle design actually reflects the price point of this thing, which is very low. The note breakdown of a Sapil Bound for Men, at least per Fragrantica, has the following notes. The top notes are cardamom, green mandarin and green apple. The middle notes are orange blossom, nutmeg and lavender, and the base notes are leather, tonka bean and amber. I'll show you the spray in action and then I'll talk about the actual scent of this fragrance. The spray is pretty decent, nothing special, but does its job. And now onto the scent of Bound for Men. Now, as I said in the opening of this video, this fragrance is a clone of Armani's Code Profumo, and it's actually done very nicely. Scent-wise, if you're not familiar with Code Profumo, Sapil Bound opens up with a nice mix of that slight freshness from the orange note, a sweetness from that green apple, a bit of spiciness from the cardamom. I also get a bit of creaminess from the lavender and quite a lot of sweetness right after you spray this fragrance from the amber note in this fragrance. When this starts to dry down, the leather starts to kick in. It's a very nice suede type of leather note that's used in the original and in this fragrance as well. Some of the spiciness goes away, some of that freshness goes away, and the dry down is mainly a mix of the green apple, the suede leather, the amber, and also quite a lot of sweetness and powderness from the tonka bean, which adds a nice level of sexiness to this fragrance. All in all, Sapil Bound for Men is very nicely blended, feels a little bit synthetic, but that's to be expected because of the very low price point of this fragrance, which I'll talk about in a minute. But again, this is a very nicely done fragrance. It's very sweet, leathery, has a little bit of a mature factor to it, but it's a very sexy fragrance that also gets a lot of compliments. When it comes to how close this fragrance is to the original Armani scent, it's super close. Especially in the air, it's pretty much identical to what you get with the original. When you smell it up close, you find a bit of a difference. For me, the Armani fragrance has a higher quality leather note used, and maybe has a little bit more sweetness, but all in all, Bound for Men from Sapil will get you super close to the original fragrance. When it comes to performance, Bound for Men from Sapil is a great performer, another strong suit for this fragrance. In fact, this has been performing better than my actual bottle of the Armani fragrance, the original. I get about 10 hours of performance out of Bound for Men with very nice projection the first 2 to 2.5 hours. And in fact, I think this the total longevity is pretty much equal with what I get from the original fragrance, but this is projecting harder compared to the original scent. When it comes to the price tag, another strong suit for this fragrance, it's super cheap. I paid about, I think, 13 euros or something like that, which will probably translate into about $15 in the US to get Sapil Bound for Men. And at that price point, I think it's an absolute steal, and it's a must-have if you like sweet leathery type of scents. When it comes to versatility or when to wear this fragrance, it's a scent profile that's oriented towards the colder months of the year. Definitely more of a nighttime scent, again, definitely. But you can get away with this one in warmer weather as long as you don't go too heavy on the trigger. Also, it's a masculine fragrance, but because of the amount of sweetness and the powderness from the tonka bean, it may lean a little bit to the to the unisex side. So I can definitely see some girls wearing Sapil Bound for Men. It's quite versatile. And so on to my final thoughts about Sapil Bound for Men. This is a great fragrance. I absolutely love it, and I feel really sorry that I didn't pull the trigger on this one 2 years ago when I first had the chance. When people were raving about this fragrance, I wasn't really sure what to expect, if the hype is real for this one, but I can definitely say that the hype is real when it comes to Bound for Men from Sapil. It's a super sexy fragrance. It's a really nicely done clone of Armani's Code Profumo. It's very sexy, very long lasting, has great performance. In fact, considering the fact that this is an EDT concentration fragrance, this is an absolute monster when it comes to performance, and it's also a great compliment getter. And the best thing out of all, of course, is the very low price tag. And if I have to name just one con about this fragrance, it will be the packaging and the bottle design. It really feels cheap and reflects the price point of this thing. But other than that, this is an absolute steal in my opinion, and a must-have if you're looking for a slightly mature, sexy fragrance that has enough sweetness, enough leatherness in it, enough powderness, a bit of freshness as well. If you're looking for a compliment getter and a sort of a date night or night out type of scent with great performance and very low price tag, definitely check out Bound for Men from Sapil. The hype is real on this fragrance. And so guys, in today's video I showed you a real must-have cheapie from the house of Sapil that's called Bound for Men. This is a clone of Armani's Code Profumo and a fantastically done clone of Armani Code Profumo. I hope that you found this video interesting or helpful. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in the next one. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.